So today we'll be doing Harpocrates and seeing of what else has been added to the Legend of Lore on Final Fantasy XVI.
How good it is to see you, Clive. If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
So persons of interest. I know Clive had some things added to his roster. So let's see. We already did Eastpool. So, with Clive Rossfield, an Imperial bearer turned deserter, he and his childhood friend, Joe, journeyed to their homeland of Rosaria to learn the truth of the events that shaped their histories. Their path takes them through the village of Eastpool, where they meet with Hannah Murdoch, wife of the late Lord Commander. She presents Clive with a set of clothes that once belonged to his father. An Imperial bearer turned deserter returns to the ruins of the Phoenix Gate, where his father and brother died 13 years before, and learns that he is indeed the dominant of Ifrit, the one who took his brother's life. Anxious to atone for his crimes and filled with righteous anger after witnessing the massacre at Eastpool, he pledges himself to Cid's cause to free all of Valisthea from its bonds. Not only those between the barrier and master, but those between man and Mother Crystal. An Imperial bearer turned ally of Cid the Outlaw. In truth, however, he is something much more, not only the firstborn of the Archduke of Rosaria, but also the dominant of Ifrit, with the ability to absorb the powers of other icons. In the 5 years since the fall of Drake's head and the death of his mentor, he and Joe have strived to continue Cid's legacy. The light of Ramu forever in his heart. After Cid fell and his hideaway was reduced to rubble at the hands of Hugo Kupka, Clive took on both his predecessor's name and role, becoming the second Cid the Outlaw, and leader of the re-established resistance. Together with the other survivors and their new recruits, he continues Cid's mission to emancipate bearers and rid the realm of Mother Crystals. Margrace, a mysterious hooded man whom many believe to be a dominant of fire. He is never seen outside the company of his faithful attendant. After being captured by Benedicta's intelligencers and imprisoned in Kaer Norvent, he has slipped away free from his bonds and escaped to Phoenix Gate. Dominant of the Phoenix and former heir to the ducal throne, Joshua was thought to have died at the hands of the second Icon of Fire during the disaster at Phoenix Gate. However, he is very much alive, traveling the realm even now, his true identity hidden by a heavy cowl and an assumed name, that Lord of Margrace. Dominant of the Phoenix and former heir to the ducal throne, Joshua was thought to have died at the hands of the second Icon of Fire during the disaster at Phoenix Gate. However, he somehow survived, appearing before his brother once more some 13 years later in the inner sanctum of Drake's Head, and saving Clive from Ultima's advances by calling upon the power of the Phoenix to seal the being within himself. Born Princess of the Northern Territories, Jill was made a ward of Rosaria after her homeland's incessant raids were quelled by the Duchy. She was raised in Rosalith Castle alongside Clive and Joshua, who came to love her as a sister. When she waved the brothers farewell on the day that they departed for the Phoenix Gate, little did she know of the misfortune that awaited both them and her. Dominant of Shiva and Clive's childhood friend. In the depths of the Nysa Defile, the two came to blows at the orders of the armies that enslaved them. Jill fighting to defend the priests of the Iron Kingdom, Clive obeying the Empire's orders to take the head of Shiva's dominant. Exhausted from her tilt with Titan, Jill came close to falling to her assassin's blades, but was spared at the last moment when Clive's memories of their time together came flooding back. Dominant of Shiva and Clive's childhood friend in the wake of the tragedy at the Phoenix Gate, Jill was taken prisoner by the Ironblood army that marched on the Rosalith and held captive of Air Islands. It was there that she awakened as the Dominant of Shiva and was forced to serve as the Crusaders' weapon in their holy wars. Being the Dominant of Shiva and Clive's childhood friend, after Clive and Cid spirited her away from the battlefield where she was being forced to fight for the Ironblood, Jill was placed in the care of the Hideaway's talented physicker, Tarja, who nursed her back to health. Finally, after her long period of convalescence, now awake, she sets out with Clive to discover the truth of their past. Jill was placed in the care of Tarja's hideaway with the physicker. Jill was placed in the care of the hideaway's talented physicker Tarja, who nursed her back to health. 5 years have now passed since the fall of Drake's head, and she and Clive continue Cid's mission to emancipate bearers and rid the realm of Mother Crystals. Dominant of Shiva and trusted confidant of Clive, leader of the hideaway. Together, they continue Cid's mission to emancipate bearers and rid the realm of Mother Crystals. Torgal! Clive's faithful friend, brought back by the Archduke Elwyn from one of his expeditions to the frozen northern territories, where he was found half-starved and shivering in a snowfield, having presumably been separated from his pack. Owen gifted the puppy to Clive upon his return, and the two became nigh inseparable, until the tragic events at Phoenix Gate tore them apart. Clive's faithful friend, now fully grown, after the tragic events at Phoenix Gate, Clive believed that Torgal was lost to him forever. However, their paths were to cross again some 13 years later when Torgal's new master Cid came to Clive's rescue in the depths of the Nysa Defile. Despite their long years apart, the two knew each other as if not a single day had passed since their separation. Clive's faithful friend, they were the two separated on the night of the tragedy at Phoenix Gate, yet reunited 13 years later in the depths of the Nysa Defile. In the intervening years, Torgal not only grew into a fine hound, but met with Cid, who trained him to work as a hunting dog. After meeting with Clive again, Torgal gladly returns to the service of his former master. He is fiercely protective of him and his allies, loath as he is to lose his best friend again, and never strays far from Clive's side, putting the hunting skills Cid taught him to use in fending off foes and picking up trails. When Jill came close to death in the courtyard of Rosalith Castle, something awoke within Torgal, transforming Torgal into something akin to an icon. I still can't get over how amazing that look is for him. Oh my god. However, it emerges that he is much more than a mere scent hound. He is a rare frost wolf, imbued with a sorcerer's strength that he is able to recall upon to defend his allies in times of crisis. Ambrosia. Born in the stables of Rosalith Castle, Ambrosia was chosen by the young Clive Rossfield to be his personal steed and raised by him from a chick. She is a proud bird and deeply loyal to her master, quickly turning her beak upon any but he who should attempt to pet her. Clive's personal steed, during the attack on Phoenix Gate, she raced to Clive's rescue, saving him from certain death at the cost of an eye, a price she gladly paid. After losing her master at Phoenix Gate, Ambrosia found a new flock and led them in defending honest merchants from beasts and bandits. earning herself the love of the locals and the name Whiteheart. Indeed, it was one of the locals' insistence that she be defended, in turn that led to her happy reunion with Clive.
It's me, Nectar and Moogle. Kappa! A hideaway is resident Moogle whom Sid found trapped between fallen ruins and brought back to his deadland home. While all other hear its word as naught but a succession of adorable Kupo-like cries. Clive is somehow able to make sense of them, learning that the creature professes to be a mighty hero, who would be seen the terrible fiends that plague the realm laid low, for which purpose it persists in drawing Clive's attention to the hunt board.
Hugo Kupka. Hugo Kupka's awakening as the dominant of the Icon Titan thrust him to the forefront of Dhalmekian politics, winning him influence over both the Republic's armies and its policy-making, as well as personal fortune. His greatest treasure, however, was always Benedict the Harmon. So when a servant of Woloed informed him that his love had been slain by Sid, his fury toward the outlaw and his allies knew no bounds. He has little love for his country, taking advantage of his position to benefit himself and himself alone. After learning that Sid the Outlaw, the man who slew the love of his life, Benedict the Harmon, still lives, he tasks his personal guard with capturing and torturing bearers in order to draw out his nemesis and take his revenge. Learning the identity of the one who slew his beloved Benedicta, he sends his forces to ransack Rosalith, capital city of Roseiryu and Clive's former home, in the hope of drawing him out. Clive takes up the offer and is able to best Kupka in battle, cutting off his hands in the process. But before Clive can deal the finishing blow, the helpless Hugo is spirited away by a mysterious man from Woloed. Chief